There is a quiet moment between one thought and the next, a silent awareness that simply observes. That moment, that stillness, is who you are. The thoughts that come and go are movements within it, but not the essence itself. When you understand this truth directly, without effort or belief, you awaken to a natural intelligence that heals division, conflict, and the endless noise of the mind. We have been conditioned to live in fragments, the thinker and the thought, the observer and the observed, the good and the bad. We divide the world within ourselves just as we divide it outside. We say, "I am angry," and immediately a part of us stands separate from anger, trying to control or escape it. But this separation is the root of inner conflict. The moment there is a controller and the controlled, there is struggle. In separation, there is resistance. And where there is resistance, there is suffering. Understanding the observer is not about creating another identity that watches thought from above. It's about recognizing that both the observer and the thought are part of the same movement, the living flow of consciousness itself. The observer is not a fixed entity sitting somewhere behind the mind. It is the awareness that arises when you see thought in its entirety, without division. When you say, "I am watching my thoughts," pause for a moment and look closer. Who is the I that is watching? Is it not another thought claiming ownership over the process of watching? When you see this clearly, something beautiful happens. The illusion of a separate observer begins to dissolve. What remains is pure observation, silent, whole, and undivided. In that wholeness, there is no conflict, because there is no separation between what is seen and the seeing itself. To understand the observer is to understand thought as a living movement, not as something to suppress or control. Thought is born from memory, from the past, from accumulated experience, knowledge, and conditioning. It is necessary for practical living, but limited in scope. Awareness, however, is not bound by memory. It is timeless, spontaneous, fresh. When awareness looks at thought without interference, it brings clarity. And clarity transforms. If you watch carefully, you will notice that thought constantly seeks to define experience, to label, to compare, to judge. But true understanding happens before the label. It happens in silence. When you simply observe a feeling, say anger or jealousy, without calling it anything, without trying to change it, the energy of that feeling unfolds naturally. You begin to see its roots, its texture, its movement. This seeing is healing. The act of pure observation dissolves the need to escape. Many people believe they must control or purify the mind to find peace. But peace is not the product of control. Control is resistance disguised as discipline. What brings true peace is total attention, an awareness that holds everything without choosing, without condemning. The observer and the observed meet in this total attention. They merge. There is no longer you looking at a problem. There is only seeing. In that state of seeing, the problem loses its grip because the division that sustained it no longer exists. The mind that is whole doesn't fight with itself. It doesn't divide thought into good and bad, spiritual and unspiritual. It simply sees the movement as it is. That seeing is action, not the mechanical action born of reaction, but natural action arising from understanding. When you are wholly aware, every fragment of thought is seen in its right place. The mind becomes light, clear, and alive. When you live in division, saying, "I must conquer this thought," or "I must not think that way," you create the war within yourself. This war spills into relationships, society, and the world. Conflict outside is merely the reflection of conflict inside. But when you observe without division, without the sense of a watcher standing apart, harmony begins inside you. And that harmony radiates outward as compassion, patience, and genuine peace. Understanding the observer is not an intellectual exercise. It's an intimate realization that can only happen now, in direct experience. In this moment, as you listen, thoughts may be moving. Memories, plans, doubts, judgments. Don't try to stop them. Simply notice the movement. Feel the aliveness of thought without naming it. You'll notice that awareness itself doesn't move. It just is. Thought arises and dissolves within it like waves within the sea. In that direct seeing, you begin to sense the unity of all experience. The observer is not apart from what is observed, just as a wave is not apart from the ocean. The same energy moves as thought, feeling, perception, and awareness. When this is seen, the fragmentation of life begins to fade. You realize that every experience, even the uncomfortable ones, are expressions of one field of consciousness. This wholeness is not something to achieve. It is already present. What hides it is our constant effort to separate ourselves from what we experience. We say, "I should not feel fear." But fear is not separate from you. It is you in that moment. The total acceptance of that fact dissolves fear's power. To observe fear without resistance is to end fear. Observation brings understanding, and understanding brings transformation. Wholeness is not created by thought. It is revealed when thought is understood. The observer's illusion fades, and what remains is pure consciousness, silent, awake, complete. In that silence, there is no conflict, no comparison, no striving. There is only understanding, and from that understanding flows natural love. When you live with awareness, you are not escaping from thought but seeing it as it arises. You begin to understand how thought shapes identity, how it builds stories about who you are and what should be. But in deep observation, you see that identity itself is thought, a narrative built over time. The observer who claims to watch is part of that narrative. Seeing this truth frees you from the endless cycle of self-centered struggle. To observe wholly means to look at yourself without image. Not, "I should be peaceful," or "I am broken," but simply, "I am." From this simple recognition, clarity flowers. You no longer run away from the mind. You understand it. And in understanding, transformation happens without effort. Understanding the observer is understanding life itself, because thought and life are intertwined. When you see thought clearly, you see the patterns of desire, fear, attachment, and memory that shape experience. And when these patterns are seen, they lose their unconscious hold. You begin to act from awareness rather than reaction. Life becomes spontaneous, creative, and compassionate. This seeing does not isolate you from the world. It unites you with it. Because when there is no inner division, there is no outer division. You look at others without judgment because you see that the same consciousness flows through every being. The end of inner fragmentation is the beginning of love. So, as you continue through your day, practice simple observation. When a thought arises, see it. When an emotion stirs, feel it. But do not divide yourself into observer and observed. Let both dissolve into the stillness of pure awareness. In that stillness, you will discover a quiet joy, the joy of simply being. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that sees them, the silent field in which they appear and disappear. And when you see this truth not as an idea, but as living experience, all separation ends. Then life becomes one continuous movement of observation, love, and freedom.